From 1916 through 1918, more than 10 years after the South Manchuria Railway began operating, burnt-out axles led to a succession of accidents. Conventional axle oil froze in Manchuria's bitter cold. American oil companies were unable to provide an effective solution. The accidents continued. Before the situation had reached this point, Sazo Idemitsu, who realized the axle oil used in cold locales such as Manchuria needed to be based on oil that would resist hardening even under extreme cold, had already developed highly cold-resistant oil, especially for use on the South Manchuria Railway, and had delivered samples in large quantities. But for some reason, the railway made no effort to use this oil. When he visited the South Manchuria Railway's headquarters in Dalian to check on conditions, Sazo learned things were worse than he had imagined. The railway's supplies department had not even tested the oil from Idemitsu. Instead, it had purchased large volumes of axle oil from a U.S. oil company. "You're fairly arrogant, aren't you? I think it's you who are at fault. Aren't you the one who went and bought oil somewhere else after I worked so hard on developing an oil for the South Manchuria Railway? Decent oil is decent oil, isn't it? Absolutely not. I wouldn't have worked this hard for the railway if oil of such low quality were acceptable. If you use that oil, the friction will make the axles catch fire." "You're saying they'll catch fire?" "Yes, they'll burst into flames." This winter, Sazo received a telegram stating simply, "Axle burning is a major problem. Bring your samples here for evaluation immediately." Before dawn on February 9, 1919, at the South Manchuria Railway engine house in Changchun, in freezing temperatures more than 20 degrees Celsius below zero, Sazo and railway personnel sleeplessly awaited the arrival of a train. A train with separate axles lubricated using the sample axle oil Sazo had brought from Japan, and axle oil from 2 American oil companies was due to return from a late-night testing run. The test train returned as the sky grew pale. Sazo and the others ran to the train and gathered at a freight car. They had soaked pieces of wool in the axle oil and stored these in bearing boxes. They checked the boxes one by one. Both axle oils from the American companies had hardened with the wool, pushing open the box lids and flying out. This showed no axle oil was left in the bearings. This in turn meant the axles would eventually catch fire. The box containing the Idemitsu axle oil remained tightly closed. When they opened the box, they found the wool still inside the bearing sections. The Idemitsu axle oil had demonstrated its cold resistance, maintaining its full lubricating performance. At this moment, Sazo's consumer orientation, grounded in his sense of mission as a Japanese business person, proved itself and earned solid trust. This number 2 axle lubricant for winter weather, developed by Idemitsu for the South Manchuria Railway, completely eliminated axle burning accidents on the South Manchuria Railway. In 1927, as the South Manchuria Railway marked its 20th anniversary, Idemitsu was the only supplier to receive a letter of thanks and a silver cup from the railway.